Indonesia, a vast and diverse country of 200 million people that covers an area greater than the whole of Europe. Of all its 17,000 islands, Sulawesi is the most magical. Isolated by deep ocean trenches, it is home to more unique species than any place on Earth. But Sulawesi is under threat.
When you're sitting in Europe in your armchair watching a natural history program and thinking, I'd like to make a difference, there is a way you can make a real difference. You can come out and join a project like this one and actually help scientists, because without the volunteers this whole project wouldn't run.
Volunteers from around the world are working alongside leading scientists to help conserve the rainforests of Sulawesi, diving on the pristine coral reefs surrounding the paradise island of Hoga.
Final okay.
Final okay, baby. I'm okay.
And they live with the Bajau Sea Gypsies of Sampella village. In this programme,
Off with his head!
we spend an Arabian night on Hoga Island.
Matching bits, right? Except Shuna's bra is see-through.
And we go exploring with Dr. Richard Barnes.
The slightest movement, and you and me both are going to be down there.
Today is Independence Day in Indonesia. On the island of Kaladupa, as throughout the whole of the country, people are gathering in their Sunday best to witness the raising of the flag.
Bagus. Indonesia? Indonesia. Good, Indonesia. Bagus.
On the neighbouring island of Hoga, our volunteer conservationists have a different kind of independence to contend with. They've travelled 9,000 miles from the UK to assist Operation Wallacea in carrying out vital marine research. But today will require assistance of a different kind. All the Indonesian staff have taken the day off, leaving the volunteers to look after themselves.
So all our staff have got the day off, and we're going to have to fend for ourselves, which is fun considering we're about 100 people here. This rota has been put together, but looking at it, I think it's very amusing. For example, the one that says water duties, supervisor Steve, 3 volunteers needed. Steve is the only one who's going to be drawing water today, according to that.
Matt Willis is gathering up the empties.
Between now and 9 o'clock, just going to sort of go around upstairs, downstairs, up to the beach cabanas around here, and just try and find any rubbish that I can and put it in a big pile that we've got around the back.
At the island's main well, dive manager Dan Johnston is halfway through his first water run. Without the luxury of running water, the crucial task of keeping the operation's washrooms or mandis fully stocked is back-breaking work.
Dive crew are the ones who were volunteered to do water duties, make sure there's plenty of water in the toilets, and luckily so far my duties haven't been blocked. We have to block them as well if they're blocked off. But so far, luckily it hasn't happened. Mind, we're only 16 minutes into the shift.
It's like, wow.
In the kitchen, preparations are already underway for tonight's dinner.
Yes, leave it in the craft.
Mother of 2, Devinda Pinder, has taken on the task of rustling up dinner for 130 staff and volunteers.
What's on the menu?
Potatoes and aubergines curried, green beans and potatoes curried, and puris, small round Indian bread. I think any sort of welcome change from the normal diet of rice and tuna is welcome. Variation in the normal diet lifts everybody's spirits.
While the volunteers slave away, the Indonesians take a well-earned rest. But the aroma wafting from the kitchen is making it hard to concentrate. Diving instructor Jean Coop has baked some real bread, not like the Indonesian variety, which tastes more like cake. The usual diet on Hoga of tuna and rice leaves little room for the simple pleasures in life.
Thank you. Wow, real bread.
But the word is out, and to these volunteers, this really is the best thing since sliced bread.
Too much excitement.
Resident artist and agony aunt Olga Mishka has managed to capture some other typically British cravings in a large mural.
One of the volunteers suggested that it would be a good idea to have an open fridge which contains all the things that we can't have here on Hoga, all the tasty things in which people talk about the whole time. They hanker after sausages and pizzas and hamburgers and crispy lettuces and all the other things. But then the different ideas came through. How about green wellies and, I don't know, kippers. Copy of The Sun, open at page 3. This was Down the Dives idea. And of course, the champagne and the caviar are mine.
A small group from Hoga is off to the neighbouring island of Kaladupa, led by the head of marine science, Dr. Richard Barnes.
Women in camera crew first. I've always wanted to be a zoologist from the age of 8. I actually wanted to go out and be a game warden in Africa, and I applied when I was 16, and I was told go to university and then reapply. You know, this was in the days when these sorts of people were producing television programs on glorious Africa. These pandanus leaves are the worst. You can really cut yourself. And so I went to university in order to do that. Watch your feet. But whilst there, I sort of discovered marine biology, and so never did apply to be a game warden. It's a long way down. How the hell are we going to get down there?
They're visiting a place that time forgot. The beautiful Sambano Lake.
We're on the northern tip of Kaladupa, about 100 metres inland from the tip. There are a lot of things called anchialine lakes, which are connected to the sea through little tiny fissures in porous rock, just like the rock I'm hovering on. And they can be very interesting because they receive seawater, but they're isolated from the sea, and many have been isolated for a long period of time. All sorts of weird and wonderful things live in them that don't live in the adjacent sea. Once we've stirred it up a little bit, it's very easy to stub a toe or disappear down a rather large, soft, muddy bit. Oh, ow! Get off. Something in here nipping me every now and then.
Taking a stroll through the lake with Richard Barnes is Dr. Magnus Johnson.
When you first go in, of course, it's crystal clear. I mean, it's like it's something out of a fairy tale. It's a really beautiful place. When you come from the hustle and bustle of round at Hoga, and then you come around here and it's quiet and peaceful, and you've got this really strong contrast of the red shrimps and the green algae. You just go, wow, fantastic. I want to try and catch one of the shrimps. One of the things that's surprising is that we found an area where there are so many of these shrimp around. You don't see shrimp like this out in the reef. I mean, these are huge by coral reef standards. Most shrimps that you find out there are very small, maybe 2-3 centimetres long, and they're very cryptic. So to be able to see something as obviously as this animal, it's quite amazing, really.
So if this is one big fissure stretching off into the interior of the island, you've only got to look down at my feet and see where I'm precariously perched to see that there's another rather large fissure down there. The slightest movement, and you and me both are going to be down there.
Treading carefully with Dr. Barnes are his two kids, Anna and Morvan.
The senior scientist is allowed to bring his family, so that my other half was here for the first 6 weeks and they're here for the last 6 weeks. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Yeah, they've been helping me in the mangroves, writing down all the data and that sort of thing. I work quite a bit in Africa, and Morvan has been to Africa the last 4 times I think I've been, and my daughter's just got to the age where she's willing to come too. She came for the last visit and will be certainly there on the next visit too.
Great education.
Yes, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's good for them. Yeah, they might turn out to be biologists as well.
But no family outing would be complete without a creepy crawly trying to bite you on the bum.
They give you a nasty bite. I've been bitten by one and I was in pain for 3 days. I was in tears and I had sweat across my head. It's the most excruciating pain I've ever had. For an animal this size, it's got amazing jaws. They're really huge. They've got quite an interesting way of feeding. What they do is they bite something, and as it's in its death throes, they run away and leave it alone, let it die, and then they come back again. And if it's not dead, they bite it again. So if you're lying in bed at night and you get bitten by one, you have to get up and kill it before you go back to bed again, because otherwise it'll come back the next night and bite you again. So not very nice.
So you've got to be careful where you sit here.
Yes, we had students come running out of the Mandy the other day because they went to squat down and there was a large hermit crab in the toilet bowl. It came out just getting themselves done up as they came out the door. What's that?
For our party of intrepid explorers, it's been well worth the trip. But duty calls on Hoga, and it's time to return to the boat.
So all the Tukang-Basie Islands are like this.
Coming up, how our volunteers pluck up the courage to feed Hoga's hungry.
Keeping my hands as far away from the rest of my body as possible.
And why Independence Day could leave a lasting impression on some of our volunteers.
Olga's painting me something, I'm not quite sure what it is at all, and I think I'm going to be wearing it for about another week.
That's after the break. It's Independence Day on the paradise island of Hoga. A welcome day off for the Indonesian staff. But a tiring day for our volunteer conservationists who've been left to fend for themselves. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. Olga's planning an Independence Day bash.
Talks about the Grand Turk and Mrs. Turk inviting everybody to an Arabian Nights party, which hopefully will be a lot of fun.
Down at the beach, the fun's already started. Rehearsals are underway for tonight's Dance of the Six Maidens. 21-year-old Chris Woods from Colchester is the genie of the lamp.
You're going to give me a full frontal lobotomy with that after you finish, yeah? Oh, lovely.
And Brendan Heaver, the operations nurse, is dressing up for a very important photo.
Sadly, through being here working for a while, I missed my graduation ceremony a couple of weeks back. My mum was gutted that she wasn't going to have a proper graduation photo to stick on the mantelpiece. She had a space already on the mantelpiece for me, so this is more for her than anything. Going to have a photo on the beach, fully kitted up with a gown and mortarboard, and going to be photographed with none other than Richard Barnes presenting me with my degree certificate.
Thank you very much. This is our pleasure.
Richard, well, he's a bit of a guru in the world of marine biology.
Cheers, thanks very much, Richard. Okay. Thanks very much, Adam.
It's a wonderful honour for someone so eminent to be presenting my degree to me.
That's great. Your mum will be proud of you, mate. I hope so, anyway.
And there's an Independence Day football match. Volunteer John Lord has escaped the kitchen for a kickabout with the local Sea Gypsy lads.
Don't know any of the names, can't speak much Indonesian, but we'll get on pretty well because it's quite a world thing, football, so everyone understands. They're all pretty good, they're really keen, they love it. Like if they didn't love it they wouldn't be playing this kind of stuff. Getting coconuts as goalposts and
getting free kicks if it hits the palm trees and stuff like that. So they're well keen, running about bare feet. So they've got no football boots, no shin pads, they just get a ball, kick that about. They love it. It's really hot, so we get tired really quickly, and all the Badger boys, they can stay playing for hours, especially this little fella.
The sun goes down on another Independence Day, but for the staff and volunteers of Operation Wallacea, the day's work is far from done.
Hello.
Have 2 pints of your finest ale, please, barman.
We haven't got any of that.
Come on, Bintang will do.
Bintang will do, right.
Dr. Barnes has landed the plum job of Hogar's barman for the night,
Are you wanting something as well?
which for a man who likes to travel with his own pint glass is quite a result. And he's got all the barman's tricks.
Has it got a hallmark? Yes, it's got the president there. Bar bill, madam.
Away with money.
Cheers.
And with stroppy customers. But bar duties are doddle compared with the job of plucking enough chickens for dinner.
Cladding, pull a few birds.
Keeping my hands as far away from the rest of my body as possible.
How does that feel? Marvellous. How pleasant of things to do on a Friday night.
In the kitchen, Devinder's beginning to wonder whether she's cooked enough curry to feed the hungry masses.
Not looking too hopeful.
Tiny piece more rice. Splendid. There's more.
Well, it's been very difficult to estimate, and we thought we'd done sufficient, but it's not quite sufficient. But we used rice that was available, so we're now giving them double the quantity of bread as opposed to the rice.
I love curry. It's a shame that I've got enough to feed a small rat.
There's just no pleasing some people, but many now appreciate how much the Indonesians do on their behalf.
There are only probably about 30 people in total looking after all these volunteers, and yet with 100 people cooking, cleaning, it's still been quite hard work, so yeah, they work very hard.
The day's work's done. It's time for the volunteers to let their hair down.
Welcome to the Arabian province of Hogar, where tonight we bring you 1001 Nights.
I'm just a concubine short at the moment. Matching bits, right? Except Shuna's bra is see-through and mine isn't.
I'm worried, I'm really scared here, because Olga's painting me something, I'm not quite sure what it is at all, and I think I'm going to be wearing it for about another week. Off with his head!
Just going with the flow. Don't know what the flow is at the moment, but I think I'm creating my own at the moment.
A man walks into the baker and says, "Is that a donut or a meringue?" The baker says, "No, you're right enough. It's a meringue." Did nobody get that? Is that a donut or am I wrong? A meringue. Did nobody get that?
It's the morning after the night before.
Had a little drink about an hour ago.
For some of the volunteers, it's time to leave the island and begin the long journey back home. But the boat is an hour late. Just enough time for Dan Walsh to pull off one last wind-up.
The guys were up drinking all night last night. They've been a bit lazy, and I don't think they're ready for the journey today, so they're still in bed and they're late. They're like half an hour late, but they don't realise that the boat's an hour late, so we're going to go and tell them that the boat's already left without them and see how they react to that.
What are you still doing here? Are you seeing the time? There's a boat and it's got loads of people on, except for you. I've got a cracking headache. It's not funny anymore. It's going. I swear you've basically got 5 minutes.
Where's my stuff? They're not yours.
home there.
Jesus.
Is that yours, Emma? The apple grease?
No. But I wonder where my purse is. I can't get
all the splinters.
Right, let's go, Spike.
And it looks as though they fell for Dan's wind-up. Which means Dan will pay if they get their hands on him.
Oh no! I made a big mistake. Kill me, aren't you? Now I know what Jeremy Beadle feels like.
It's the end of Matt and Sarah's 6 weeks in Indonesia, an adventure that has taken them from the jungles of Buton Island to Hoga's underwater paradise.
It's going to be really strange going home now. The thing I've been thinking about more than anything is food. That sounds really awful. But yeah, you think of all the things when we were sort of sitting there around the fire and first acclimatisation, everyone's saying, oh, you know, I could eat a pizza, I could eat this, that, you know. But yeah, what?
I don't know. Yeah, food is the main thing that people think about.
It sounds
if I get home and my mum's cooked me fish and rice, I'll probably scream.
Yeah, don't want to see any more rice.
Yeah, meet up in November. Lovely. Take care. Take care, Andy. That's about it. You're waiting for me to cry now? I don't cry. Good riddance to him. Gonna have a lot more space now. Take care, Matt.
See you soon, buddy.
Been a pleasure, mate. See you later.
Have a nice journey. I'll do my best.
See you later, Sarah.
Okay, Babalu sudah. Yeah, Babalu bisa.
I've been looking forward to going home, seeing my parents, telling them about all the amazing things that's happened here. I have missed my family quite a bit, but I'm also going to be very sad to leave. It'd be nice if I could come back sometime.
This is the last of the big farewells on Hoga. As winter approaches, there'll be fewer new arrivals of volunteers on Sulawesi, leaving the paradise island of Hoga deserted once again. And for those who could never work out what all the fuss was about, life in paradise will continue just the same. Join the volunteer conservationists of Operation Wallacea again next time as they continue their mission of saving paradise.
Ha 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 ha.